Guys, I need your help. I need all of your help picking my next car. And it's going to be a bit different to what I normally do. It's finally time for me to start to learn how to drive and actually drift. I know it's cliche, YouTuber who builds cars, learning how to drift, but I've always wanted to do it. So let's jump in, see what I found, and see if you can give me some advice and help me out with the 3 that I've picked, or a 4th option that might be on your brain. All right, so to premise this, the whole thing is, obviously, if you guys have followed the channel, you know I've got an A80 Supra, which in my eyes is perfect. Fresh paint, fresh wheels, fresh everything. Don't want to damage it. Obviously, that would be a great drift car if I wanted to set it up for that, but I'm not going to. That's my baby. I've had it for half of my life, and we're not going to be drifting that. We've got the Crown. No, just no. It's a 186, it's a boat, it's not a drift car, it's auto, whatever, no. We do have the 1JZ E46, but as you know, it's a shift kitted auto. Because I've already got the manual turbo Supra, I didn't want to like build a lesser version, you know what I mean? So I went with something that was a little bit different, shift kit, snapping gears, things like that, bit of fun. Auto, not a drift car. But also, I want to keep that as a nice streeter for myself. I've always wanted a 1JZ car, I've always wanted an E46. So it kind of sits in the same realm as the Supra. Now, I've loved drifting ever since like watching Mad Mike Wadette back in like 2008. I think it was when he was building his first tube front end on his RX-7. So it's always been a dream of mine to learn how to drift. I've always seen it as too far-fetched, but as I'm getting older, I'm kind of realizing you've got to go and do the things you love. And like my wife says, if you spend money on things that you love, you've never wasted $1 in your life. And that's pretty fair. And also, that's given me an excuse to go and buy another car. So I have been talking to some YouTubers, I've been talking to some drifters, etc., trying to get the best advice on what car to get. Now, everyone unanimously tells me spend under 8 grand. Don't go and like modify it crazy. Just get in there and learn how to drive. So essentially what we're going to want to get is whatever we get, we'll put coilovers in. Obviously we'll have a bit of a play with the exhaust for fun, weld the diff, maybe a hydro eventually, but I'm told maybe you should be learning how to drift without hydro because it's kind of cheat mode, apparently. I haven't drifted, so I don't know. Now, my path to get to drifting and learning, I'm taking you guys with me. It is going to be after the E46 is done, so we're a few months away, but I'm going to go to Drift Cadet, where it's like $900 for the day. They give you the drift car. It's a full day. Not give, you know, you drive their car. They teach you how to drift. They teach you donuts, figure eights, and actually how to like link corners, things like that. Now, obviously, I've had my fun in my time and I've had a bit of a play, but I'm no pro. I don't know how to drive. It's like the keyboard warriors that don't know how to fight saying they could beat Conor McGregor. No, you can't. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing with drifting. I'm just clutch kicking and having a bit of fun, but I do want to learn and I want to get really good. So, under 8 grand, welded diff, coilovers, obviously a bunch of wheels, doesn't matter because they're going to get smashed up, and an engine and gearbox that can handle it. So I do have a preference of what I would love to have, but it does go out of the budget. Let's have a look. The IS 200, 300, Altezza, whatever you want to call it. Now, in my mind, I really wanted an IS 300 manual. I have 2 JZs already. This would be a 3rd. It means I have a lot of parts that would cross-reference. So if I need a starter, if I need an alternator, if I need whatever, I can just rip it off one, put it on the other. If I have a track day or I get to a point that I compete and I'm like, oh, it's died and I just need it, I just grab it off the other one, put it on. They're my weekend cars, so it can wait. So that would work really well. But the issue is, you can only get IS 200 manuals cheap in Australia from what I can see. There may be a rare one here or there, but like I found one for 5 grand, which seems pretty good. But that's a 200, and I'm told they don't have enough power unless you turbo them, then you're starting to modify, you're probably going to blow the budget. IS 300s, I can't find any that are manual, and if they are manual, one, they have a W58, which I've heard it's not the greatest. W55, I had a W58 in the Supra before I swapped it out to the V160 and the turbo motor, and it was great. Like, it was an NA2J in front of it, so there wasn't a heap of power, but it was enough to have fun and get sideways and whatever. So I figured that would work, but I can't find any of them. And if I have found them, they're like 15 grand. So IS200, the specs are not great. 153 horsepower. I'm told you probably want over 200 to make your life easier. So I don't know if that's gonna work. If you have an IS200 non-turbo manual and you drift it properly, not just give it a boot around the streets, but if you actually drift it, please jump in the comments and let me know. Give me some information, because this would be the dream. What I would love to do is get one of these, learn in it, eventually buy either a 1J with a T56 or I'd even go a VVTi 2J and redo the bottom end with thicker con rods, because obviously they're the thin ones, with a T56, but you know, that's gonna be like a 10 grand drive line to get in and so on. The reason that I think that's a good idea is because obviously they come with a JZ, so engine mounts, you could use factory ones, power steering lines, factory ones, etc., etc. It would just be all factory stuff or wrecker stuff, throw it in and it would work. So that would be great, but obviously that would be the evolution of my drifting career, let's say. Once I've learned and I've got used to drifting and so on, then I could build something and I could use the same chassis, you know? So I'm kind of saving money there in the long run, but in the short term, I don't know if it's gonna have enough power. If it does, oof, that'd be great, but doesn't really look great. Option 2, E46. Everyone drifts E46 and E36s. I'm not a big fan of the E36, and they are getting a little bit more pricey lately. Not that I'm not a big fan, I'm just a bigger fan of the E46. It's just, I grew up with Need for Speed, Most Wanted, you know, the M3 in there, things like that. Obviously I have an E46, so I like them. They are cheap. But the issue with this is, everyone says go the 330 or the 328. Now the 330 only has 231 horsepower. Has more than the IS200, granted, but you're gonna have to go and do, well, if you can find a 328 or a 330, you're gonna have to go and do subframe reinforcement. That's a big job. Like, I've done it. It's not the worst job in the world, but it's a pain. And to be honest, I never want to do it again. But for the 330, 328, you're looking like 10 to 12 grand minimum. So it's not really in the ballpark. I'll possibly maybe a 325 or a 323 or a 320. They are available in the 5-6 grand mark. But if you are drifting one of those, please let me know. Am I wasting my time? Chelsea DeNova says, yes, you are. He's a pro drifter and he's been drifting E36 and E46s forever. He says 328, 330 or M3. Obviously, M3 is like 40, 50, 60 grand here. Not gonna happen. But he says don't waste your time with the rest because the gearboxes are weak, blah, 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 blah. So what do we do with that? If you're driving one of those, please let me know. Even if you're driving a 328 or a 330, let me know. How is it going for you? How's the gearbox? I've heard the 330 and the drive line is great and it's robust and it's good to go. But again, 231 horsepower. What are we doing? You know? The next option, and this is I feel like this is just the buy and drift option, which is good. The 350Z, right? 3.5 litre, 6-speed, the CD009 gearbox. They're known as the go-to drift car for beginners. The seat time car, like TJ Hunt, he has a 350Z with a full, like it's a full pro car, but then he got a 370Z because he enjoyed driving the 350 so much and he wanted a seat time car that he got a stock 370, angle kit, coilovers, welded the diff. He did put NOS on it eventually, but that was so he could compete with 500 horsepower cars. Going down a different path there. But he was drifting at stock for ages. And I'm pretty sure, his 350 has a winters in it. I'm pretty sure it was the 350 he had in Florida. He thought he blew the diff, but all he did was break the weld in his diff. So they just re-welded it and he carried on. So they're a good car. The only issue is you're only getting generally convertibles for under 10 grand. I saw one for 8, I saw one for 10. that's not a big issue for me. I don't mind running a convertible. I just reached out to one of the Keep It Reet boys who does the scrutineering to make sure that you can run them with them, because the plan would be drift cadet, and then once I learn there, build a car and go to Keep It Reet events, because they can teach you one-on-one for like $350 for the day. They come in your car, they tell you what to do. So that's great, right? And he said, yes, you can run convertibles, but he thinks that you need a full cage. He will confirm with me. I'm just impatient, so I'm making this video now. But that does seem like a good option. Power figures, 300 horsepower, 296, 301, I don't know what's in brackets, but whatever, it's around the 300 mark. That is the most powerful of this option, this spread of cars. It's the most powerful, it's the most buy and drift. Like the one that I found for 10 grand, it was in Queensland, already had the LSD, already had locked, already had hydro, it was the Brembo option, etc., etc. It already had all the stuff. That would be literally buy, throw it on the track. You spend no more money. It's got the coilovers, it's got everything. You literally just put it straight on the track and you drive it for 10 grand. Maybe you barter and you get it for 9, whatever. That's the 3 options I've come up with. I feel like, again, if you have a 350Z or a 370Z and you're drifting it, etc., etc., jump in the comments, let me know. I need information from you guys that are actually doing this. You've got your feet on the ground out there doing the work. You're drifting. I know Surge, is it? Ben Surge or something like that on YouTube. He's got a big channel here in Victoria. He just bought a 350Z and they bought a V35 Skyline, which was manual, for like 6 grand, which was crazy cheap. Like, I've never seen that. I know V35s are cheap, and that would be a great option if I could find a cheap manual one, because it's essentially a 350Z V35. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but as in, I might have. I'm just tripping over my tongue right now. 350Z V35, same thing. 99% of V35s are auto. A lot more 350Zs are available in manual. So that would be, they're in the same basket, I see. If I find a cheap one, cool. So please let me know, how are they going? How does it drift? Like, is it reliable? The CD009, I'm watching that get put in everything. So clearly the gearbox is good. At 300 horsepower, the VQ35 is probably cruising. They're being used as seat time cars for a reason. So is that the good option? And in the 350Z world, are you going vert or are you going, coupe? Because they're obviously going to be 2 very different cars. Mad Mike drifts a convertible MX-5, so no issues, but he's a pro, so he could probably drift anything. Not that it would probably change too much, but whatever, I'm digressing. Help me. Please help me. Now, the 4th avenue is, I don't like this one, do we just buy someone else's track car? I don't like it because they could be selling it because it's on its last legs, or they know something I don't know, and I get out there, I do one lap and I blow something up that they knew was about to blow up, or whatever the case may be, and it's going to be a lot more expensive. But do we invest? I don't like the idea of investing a lot more than we need to spend straight up, because, like, for example, if the IS200 comes in good, this bad boy, if there is enough power, maybe you run super skinny tires or something to make up for the lack of power, whatever the case may be. I'm okay with doing that. If I get into it and I get good and I'm, really gelling with drifting and finding that I can spend a lot of time on the track, etc., then a 10 grand driveline upgrade isn't too bad in the future. You know what I mean? When we have more sponsors, the channel grows a bit more subs. Don't forget to sub. Everyone that is, I love you. Thank you so much, because it means a lot to me. But yeah, so that is my preference. This is what I think we'll end up with, because I feel like it's just the easiest, smartest route. But please jump in the comments and let me know. I need your help. I genuinely need your help. This isn't just clickbait to get comments on my video. I need the input from you all out there that are out there doing this. Or you've got a 350Z and you've had it for 10 years and you're like, man, I've been beating on this car forever and it's never let me down. Or you've got an IS200 and you've been beating on that forever and it's never let you down. Or and you can get sideways with it and you can hold it and it's a good car. Let me know what you think, because I'm open to things. I'm open. I really want the IS200. I'm going to be honest with you. I really want that. I want to make that work. But at the same time, I really don't want to blow too much money on this, because let's be honest, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm going to crash. It's a track car for a reason. I'm going to damage things. I'm going to tap walls because I'll get too excited. I'm going to smash rims. I'm going to break arms. Not mine, but on the car, hopefully. Things like that. So I know that these three options also have a huge wrecking availability. A lot of people have crashed them and they're wrecking them, so you can get parts really cheap, which is ideal, because if you go and snap an axle, go and buy one for 25, 50 bucks, throw it in, you're back drifting. That's the idea. So guys, thank you for coming along for my waffle, for my chat. I need your advice, like I've said, and I also need you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like this content. If you want to see me drift, if you like the idea of the Supra, the E46, the Crown, whatever, come back, subscribe, build up a generic dude more than the OnlyFans girls. Because you've got the memes out there and it's like me going to work when I know that a girl's out there selling her farts for $35,000 a jar. And it's the Joker from, the movie The Joker. I feel like that. I feel like that going to work, Just how these girls boys, support your boys, all right? And girls, support your boys, because you girls out there that are watching this, you don't like the OnlyFans girls, okay? Let's pretend that. Subscribe, help me out. But please, give me your feedback in the comments. And if you have any other ideas, any other cars that are sub $8,000 in Australia, manual, over 200 horsepower, readily available like that, good drive lines, good engines, let me know in the comments, because I'm probably missing a bunch of stuff. I don't know all cars, and I'm new to the whole drifting scene relatively, So please let me know. Thank you for coming along. I can't wait to read your comments, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you guys.